Hey y'all, it's Alicia and welcome back to Alicia's Crafty Hoplop. It is Wednesday afternoon, folks, and I am on with a review of the We Are Memories Keepers Revolution Maggie Holmes collection dies. Now, as you all saw this week, Soleil hauled the Heritage dies and stamp set and sent me a bunch of them, and they turned out epically beautiful. And I promised you all that when I broke into these that I would do a die cutting review and quick show and tell. And that's what I'm on here to do, as promised. Folks, I have to tell you, paper is going to make a big difference. So at first, I was a little bit concerned that the flowers were a bit underwhelming when I first die cut them. But I'll tell you, at the end, I realized it was user error. And this is where it's important to share tips with one another. So you'll see that they all have these deep embossing lines. So these both emboss and die cut at the same time. So there's these etchings in the floral flat die cuts and also in the leaves. So when I was first die cutting, I was using regular Maggie paper. I didn't think about that etching and about the embossing process. Now, they turned out super cute, for instance. The head comes out cute, doesn't matter what paper you use. Like, I just wanted to show you this one. Like, doesn't matter what you use, a soft pink paper, a Maggie paper, a detailed paper, a foil paper, the head comes out great each and every time. Same is true of the bow. This irregular, what we would call like a primitive style bow, it comes out great. Doesn't matter what paper you use. I tried it on thin, I tried it on thick, I tried it on fancy holographic. It looks terrific. The same is true of the profile. Looks great, doesn't matter. Now you do lose. What's interesting is that this also has etching. So when you're doing it on foil, you'll see you get the little like tuck marks in the hair, but you don't lose anything by not having it on regular paper. But I was a little concerned because when I cut, for instance, the leaves on regular paper, they're cute, but you lost all the detailing. Even when you hold it in the light, you can barely see it. And then I thought, well, maybe it's color, Alicia, go lighter. So you'll see I did it on this orange one, and you can see a tiny bit of the etching, but it didn't look great. Then I thought, well, if you layer it up with different colors, it'll still look terrific. True, but then I realized, wait, change your paper up. What happens if you do, because foil is the best way. If I'm doing specialty dies that are for dyeing and embossing, I use my foil paper or I use a metallic cardstock. So I thought, let's see what happens. Well, folks, it's magic. Not only, look, I wonder if you can see on my camera. Yeah, you can. Okay, you see, even the tiny little etchings in the hair show up. So then I was like, well, the deer was cute no matter what you cut it out of. What happens when we cut it out of the gold? All the detail, folks, comes out. Look, in the face and the speckling on the back. Look at that. It's beautiful. You see that? Oh, look how pretty. So then I thought, well, if that worked out well, what happens with the flowers? Oh, folks, as soon as you cut them out on, you see, on the metal, on the foil paper, the detailing is spectacular on these. Spectacular. So I'm thinking when I do this, when I'm doing it where I'm not layering it up, I'm going to do it on foiled cardstock or on foil paper. And when I'm doing it where I'm going to layer up different layers of the flowers, then I'll use like Maggie paper and layer up different colors. But again, it didn't matter what you cut this one out of, it looked great. It didn't matter what you cut the deer out of, it looked great. And it didn't matter what you cut the bow out of, it looked great. The only time where if you want more detailing, that's the leaves and the floral pieces, the two floral pieces, because that's the only time where it really does make a difference what paper you use. It's magical in the foil. There you go. There's my camera better so you can see it without glare. See all that detailing? Magical. And on the head, what's really nice is that you even get her necklace. There we go. Let's see. There, now you can see it. So, folks, once I figured that out, I was like, okay, this is a fantastic die set. The other nice thing is they're a nice clean cut. I tried it on Maggie paper. I tried it on Michael's Hot Buy. I tried it on my thin foil paper. I tried it on my slightly thicker holographic paper, my cardstock. They all cut cleanly. I didn't run into any cutting issues whatsoever. I paid for this die set. Well, my husband paid for the die set. I didn't pay for it. My husband bought it as a gift. But in other words, this wasn't given to me. The review that I'm doing wasn't because someone gifted me a product. Even if that were the case, I'd be honest with you, but I just want to let you know I'm doing this for our community so that you know whether or not these dyes are worth getting. They're a nice clean cut. They really are a nice clean cut, folks. They're worth purchasing, especially if they're on sale. They did a beautiful job, and when you're using foil paper or metallic paper, the detail on them is just fantastic. So this was a good purchase. We got ours at scrapbook.com at the sale. That's where they kept selling out, but they do eventually restock. So perhaps there's many other places that sell them. If you just do a search online, it's We Are Memory Keepers Maggie Holmes dyes, you should be able to find them. But great review because they cut beautifully, and when you're using metallic paper, beautiful etched detail. All right, y'all, I hope that was helpful and a useful review, because I know I always like to know, how do the dyes work? Is it worth the investment? I love the size of this deer. I'm thrilled. I would have been happy if just these two worked well, but I'm delighted to report to you that, especially if you're being choosy about your paper, they all turn out great. So this is a winning die set. For all Maggie lovers, this is a winning die set. All right, y'all, I will be back on later today after my post office run and after several hours of crafting. I hope whatever you're doing, it's something joyful. If you have any questions about the dyes or the paper that I use, please leave them down below. And I will be doing catching up on comments tonight, so I'll make sure to answer them. Thanks so much, y'all. Happy Wednesday.